Let's get ready to get into the main part of our conversation today. I answered anonymously. I voted. So everybody has the ability to answer anonymously, but it split right down the middle. So there we go. Let's see. All right. We're gonna get ready to go into the main part of our conversation, I guess you would say. But before we do that, I guess I can check in and ask you a little bit about what your plans are for the weekend. Anybody got any special plan weekend? I'm going to be traveling, finally going back home after being on the road for a couple weeks. So the next time we do morning journal, we'll be back in the studio. You know, I guess you. So we're gonna do after this stream. I'll be able to pack up all the gear because for tonight's room, all I need is my tablet. So I'll be able to pack up everything and make sure it's all good to go. And then, yeah, we'll do writer's room tonight. Does working count? Working does count. Tim is camping. Okay. I'm going to visit my father and my siblings with my children. That's what's up. Kirk O'Shane, good to see you. So while we going yay. All right, here we go. All right. So blank was totally worth the hype. That is our first prompt today. Blank is totally worth the hype. We'll open up the request box. Think about something that lived up to the hype, which is a rare occurrence in my experience. So many things are hyped up beyond necessity. Losing totally lived up to the hype, says Mez in the chat. Losing totally lived up to the hype. Yeah, it was as bad as they said it was going to be. Yeah, losing was as bad as they said it was going to be. Someone anonymously says that sleeping has totally lives up to the hype. They say sleep is good. I heard somebody say sleep is good. And I concur. So we got Tim. Tim says, me. I live up to the hype, baby. I live up to the hype. All right. I wonder what the hype is around. What is the hype around Tim that's being lived up to? What is the hype around Tim that is being lived up to? That you're awesome? The word on the street is that you're awesome? All right, I hear you. Noble Ancient says that living one day at a time totally lived up to the hype. Somebody said take it one day at a time, and hey, it's really living up to the hype. So Miss says having an Apple computer totally lived up to the hype. So I love my Mac. Starlight says that morning routine sets a course for a strong day. Morning routine totally lived up to the hype. They say get your day started right. And hey. Jesse just says that Miss is flexing. Thinks that Miss is flexing about that Apple computer. This is no flex zone. They know better. No flex zone. They know better. So Alexis says two things. Armistice Game has thus far lived up to the hype, as has being married to Noble for over 10 years. Lived up to the hype. All right. Noble's like, I concur. Indeed. Indeed. Beautiful. All right. So, when was the last time you saw a movie that lived up to the hype? When was the last time a movie has lived up to the hype? I'm wondering. Jesse Jess says keeping your room clean has lived up to the hype. Now there's the flex. There's the flex. In this room, I know you're not around a lot, Jesse Jess, but in this room, a clean room is a flex. So We Are All Mad Here says that A Quiet Place was a movie that lived up to the hype. I saw it not long ago. Jesse just like, yo, it feels good to flex, baby. Got to be flexing on them. So We Are All Mad Here says, I read a recipe for breaded chicken tenders that they claim are just as good as fried. It claimed that the trick is to toast your breadcrumbs with some oil first or fry them. Since you put in oil in it, you're just oven frying them. But okay. Well, the hype was true. So you just oven frying those breadcrumbs. Hey, if it's oil in this heat, baby, it's frying. Oh man. If it's oil and heat, guess what? It's frying, baby. It's a drizzle of oil instead of legit dunking them. The last movie I seen that would have lived up to the hype, if it had any, was The Curse of Sleeping Beauty. So that was the last good movie. Didn't have a lot of hype, but they could have hyped that one up. So someone anonymously says that Panda Express lived up to the hype until the ambulance arrived. Not the ambulance. I wonder why. The Curse of Sleeping Beauty. Intriguing. So we are all mad here. Did you have those tenders last night? Oh, you had them at 3 a.m. Okay. Did anyone else have any of them? So you up cooking at 3 a.m., huh? Up whipping up random recipes at 3 a.m.? I hear you. Okay. Let's get ready to go on to the next prompt, folks. If we're ready to do that, go ahead and yeah, just get ready. We go into the next one. So there's another little fill in the blank situation for you. Let me reset the request box real quick. So the prompt says, I used to think blank, but I couldn't have been more wrong. I used to think blank, but I couldn't have been more wrong. What were you just like totally wrong about? I used to think blank, but I couldn't have been more wrong. Man says Sleeping Beauty original was my favorite princess. I was wrong to have that to have this opinion. Oh man. Jesse Jess says, I used to think my ex was loyal. I used to think my ex was loyal, but I couldn't have been more wrong. So what's the definition of loyalty? What was the expectation that was violated? Everything you can think. Oh, no, everything I can think. You're like, I don't want to talk about it, fam. Let's just move on. Tim says, I used to think that I could be monogamous, but I couldn't have been more wrong. Jesse Jess, is Tim your ex? Is Tim your ex? Oh man. It's like maybe, I don't know. All right. Noble Ancient says, I used to think my family made a difference in my life, but I couldn't have been more wrong. Couldn't have been more wrong. You think they would make a difference? Well, maybe there was a specific difference that you thought they would make. A lot of times, the things that we leave are just as influential as the things that we stay with. You know? People can have sort of have an influence, not necessarily in a positive way, but it's still something that is a driver on some level. You know, Because I know you mentioned before, like your mom told you you should do something with that game, with those games. I think you've mentioned that before. Just an offhand remark. Sometimes, our family can put a chip on our shoulder, right? It's like, I'll show you. You haven't seen the last of me. And that's still an influence. So someone anonymously has shared that love, or that being nice to everyone, or the heart worth keeping open. I used to think those things, but I couldn't have been more wrong. I couldn't have been more wrong. You should think those were good ideas. I used to think this life in the physical plane was actually pretty useless, and what we did here didn't really matter, but I couldn't have been more wrong. I used to think we are all really manifested here for a specific purpose and reason, but I couldn't have been more wrong. Wow. Okay. Those seem to be two contradictory things, but I can see how they aren't necessarily contradictory. Noble says, I took that as a challenge instead of an influence. Well, a challenge is an influence. Anything that moves you into action, if you remember it's working on you. What you work on works on you. It's in there. So Marie has given us something to really think about here. It's a little bit of a paradox. It's the case that what we do matters, but maybe there isn't a specific thing. We just can shape the meaning. We can make meaning of our lives by what we do, but it's not like it has to be a specific thing or bust. We just get out here and start doing something. I don't know. I read it incorrectly. Okay. He's like, it's my bad. So Miss says, I used to think I was living an active and healthy lifestyle with food and exercise, but I couldn't have been more wrong. I used to think, but I couldn't have been more wrong. Alexis says, I used to think abusive relationships were normal for people to have. I met Noble and realized I couldn't have been more wrong. Starlight says, I used to think that I needed weed to be able to get through my day, but I could not have been more wrong. I now really enjoy being sober. Dee Dee says, I used to think, is it Friday morning? Oh shit. But I couldn't have been more wrong. Actually, you were right. It is Friday morning. You were right about that one. You were right about that one. So I think it's important. Yeah, it's important to recognize that the errors that we have in our view of the world and give ourselves the grace to change our mind as we learn and grow. Sometimes we can become so entrenched and invested in a view of the world that we don't even sincerely believe, but we won't own the change. We won't own that, maybe I need to do this. I need to do this a different way. So, so yeah, Noble feels attacked indirectly. No, it's direct. It's not indirect. I'm directly challenging you. It's not indirect. So I think we do have some clarification on Marie's point. Alexis says, I think that meant that we are all here for a reason, and that was what they realized, not that nothing that we do matters. From the nothing that we do matters being wrong. Okay. So Noble says, my family used to tell me that I should do this or that with my life to a point where I almost felt like I nearly lost myself. So Marie says, being very spiritual and believing in an afterlife, I felt like earth was whack and none of this matters. Okay. But nope, we're here for a particular reason. Noble, you're not Berlin. No. You're not a new Berlin. I don't pick on you just for fun. All right, we're going to get ready to go to the next prompt if y'all are ready to do that. Let's see what we got here. So here is another sort of thing to think about. I used to be really passionate about blank. I used to be really passionate about blank. So this is like another way of almost another way of looking at things that we were wrong about. It's not necessarily a right or wrong thing, but it's just kind of proof that we kind of evolve over time. And some things that really are central for us in some phases of our life and in some areas they kind of fade in relevance and important to us over time sometimes. So I used to be really passionate about blank. And maybe that's faded a little bit or whatever. I don't know. But let us know. What is something that you used to be really, really passionate about? All right. Miss says, I used to be really passionate about theater. Used to be really passionate about theater, and I miss it. So, what made you leave the theatre, Miss? Someone anonymously says that I used to be really passionate about people. Life just kept lifing. And it was like, So Tim says that I used to be really passionate about photography. I used to be really passionate about photography. So when you think about the things that you were once passionate about that you no longer have the same passion for, it might be worth thinking about what happened. Like, what happened there? What are some of the things that lead to a loss of passion? What are some of the decisions that you might have made, the deals that you might have made with yourself to kind of exclude something that once gave you so much juice? Noble Ancient says that I used to be passionate about becoming a bookstore owner until I found my truest passion. So it was just replaced by something that felt more right. Used to be passionate about owning a bookstore, but now I found something that feels even more right. So I think it can be a positive thing that sometimes we are limited. We are limited in our passions by what we are exposed to, right? Sometimes our possibilities are shaped by our environment. It's hard to hold a dream about something that you haven't seen before, that you don't recognize as a thing that even exists. So sometimes our passions evolve because we grow up and we see more things that might be a better fit for us. That's why it's important to try to have, to try to experience the world and experience life so that you can have um, a more well-rounded view of what's possible for you. Maybe have a variety of different things that can light you up inside. So someone anonymously shares that I used to be really passionate about children, but society makes it really hard to care about children that aren't yours. Hmm. Society makes it hard for you to care about children that aren't yours. Well, you answered anonymously. I can't really follow up, but I'm wondering how society makes anything hard for you to do inside your own mind and body. I'm a little confused by it. But we don't have to get into it because you answered anonymously. So I know it can be overwhelming. But yeah, someone anonymously shared, I used to be really passionate about the idea of love and being affectionate, or any emotion really. So we got a couple ideas kind of floating around in the chat. One around theater, one around children, and what was meant by that. Get a little clarification in there, I think. And the care is one of those weird words that has a lot of different meanings. Um, you know, so Alexis says that Irish step dancing. I used to be passionate about Irish step dancing. While I miss it, I know my metal ankle cannot handle the stress of it. I used to be in competitions and stuff and rehearsals, several rehearsals, 7 hours at a shot. So fun. So Reese is just giving an opinion on it. Reese is like, I would have said it with my chest. I'm very open. I wouldn't have anonymous. I just would have said that with my full chest, with my name on it. I'm just saying what I think. That's what's up. I appreciate that. So I used to be really passionate about, there's a lot of things that I used to be passionate about that I don't really care about no more. But the thing is, the things that I've done that I'm most proud of, the things that I've done that I'm most proud of, the most meaningful work I've done, my most significant projects that I completed, I didn't necessarily feel passionate about it when I was doing it. It's such a fleeting thing, you know? It's a fleeting thing. So I don't require it. I just need for it to be meaningful and matter. If it matters enough, and if I know that it matters enough, then I can do it. I don't need to feel a certain way about it. I just I just know that when I look back, I know that I this is how I want it to be in the end, and however I have to feel in the process to get there, I'll do it. I'll somehow get it done, right? So everybody can take a second if you would like to drop some green hearts in the chat. Rita is listening in as we get ready to go to the next prompt. All right, we're going to the next one. All right, and this kind of points to the thing I was just talking about a moment ago, and it also could point to a little bit of you know, unfortunate self sabotage. But let's talk about this one a little bit. I don't like to blank, but I do it anyway. I don't like to blank, but I do it anyway. Hey, yo, Reese, thank you so much for the spoons, fam. I appreciate that. Reese says, much love. I haven't caught you before, but I like what you're doing here. Well, thanks, Reese. We are here every morning at 6 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. So if you happen to be up, this we try to start the day together. I'm not sure where you are in the world, but this is what we do. 255 weekday mornings in a row. So Noble has been working so hard on that Brothers Commission. All that is missing is my part of the contribution. Okay. Yeah, Noble's been telling us about the progress he's making with the Chicago project. Reese says, I seen the lives before. I ain't never come in here because I thought, oh no, this is probably whack. He said, I seen it, but it's probably whack. Then he's like, okay, let me just see what's going on in here. Yeah, that's why you kind of have to keep going, man. That's why you kind of have to keep going. Sometimes some people have to see stuff um, a few times, a few dozen times before they try it out. So that's why the consistency matters. Noble says, I don't like to work as a dishwasher, but I do it anyway. I hear you, Noble. I do think that there are some parts of it that you like. Like you, I think that there are some parts that kind of add to your experience. You um yeah, you've had some accomplishments that you are proud of, and I think anytime you develop a level of competence in something, it kind of feels good to do it a little bit, right? Reese is like, nah, fam, I just be good on my way to work, so I'm getting off spoon. But you can. This is definitely the type of vibe you can listen into work. So we'd love to have you listening in, AK, while you get what you need done. So Alexa says, I don't like to force myself to consistently eat, but I want to be healthy, so I do it anyway. I manage my eating because I want to be healthy. I do it anyway. I don't like it, but I do it anyway. Yeah, I think anytime you do something, anything that can fill in this blank with something that's positive, anytime you can fill in this blank with something that is sort of honoring your future self, the person that you're trying to be, it's kind of like you showing yourself who's boss. It's like, look here, you. I know you don't want it, but this is who we are now. So you need to get with the program. So someone anonymously says that I don't like to go numb, but I do it anyway. I don't like to go numb, but I do it anyway. What's the alternative to going numb? It seems like if you what you don't like to do is to feel your feelings and you go numb instead. I think that's probably more accurate. Johnny Johnny says, I don't like to fold laundry, but I do it anyway because I want to be fresh. I want to have my place in order. I don't want to go into work looking like I hopped up out of the hamper. So Alexa says, hey, did I tell you I stopped smoking? Well, congratulations. Congratulations. I know that you've been working on that. So, what is something that you don't always feel like doing? I don't like to. I don't like it. Maybe I'm not passionate about it as I was when I started. Sometimes it's interesting how we can start out doing something and our reason to do it is rock solid, and we know to get it done with difference, and we have a high level of motive and passion to do it, and we can have it such that the reason doesn't change, like the thing that matters about it doesn't change, but we not feeling it no more, right? So that's where you have to try to stand. You have to kind of stand up to yourself, because you know that the reason why you started still holds true, but how you feel about it have changed. So you have to be able to overcome that. So Johnny says, I passed the exam finally and officially I'm a physiotherapist. Johnny, I know you've been working on that for a while. Like for a while. I want to say since like late 2020, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think when we met you, you were working on that. So congratulations, Johnny. I'm glad that you got over that hump. I know that you were worried a lot about that. And hopefully, yeah, this is going to put you in a much better situation in your career, give you a little bit of stability. That's awesome. So for Miss is cleaning, it brings up anxiety, thoughts of having to move quickly, having too much or too little. But it feels good to see myself do it. It's made a difference in my life. I'm trying to fall in love with it, trying to fall in love with that process. Everybody likes the result of having cleaned. I don't think anybody's mad at a clean and comfortable and peaceful space. Nobody's mad at that. We love it. I think that's why you like going to hotels, because it's always just fresh and clean and a whole bunch of stuff out there. But if you can learn to love the work, you know. Imagine says, unless it's too clean, then it's a problem. So Reese is trying to focus on everything as connected. It's just one process, it's one project, or it's a big process, not just individual things. Yeah. Let's see what we have here. Okay. I don't like to blank, but I do it anyway. All right, let's see. If we're ready, we can go ahead and jump to the next one. Let's go to the next. Let's keep this thing rolling, baby. Dr. Ice is here, folks. All right. So we can kind of go deeper even more. We can go deeper even more into this idea by asking this simple question. We start talking about passion, but now we're going to move over and say a little bit about values. What do you value the most? I think sometimes there is a disconnect between what we feel the most passion towards and what we find the most valuable. I think value is a more long-term and persistent state or relationship that we have with a thing, whereas passion is can be a little fleeting. I think that if we are intimidated by immaculate spaces, is because they make us feel dirty in around them. They kind of highlight, oh, this is clean. Look how dirty I am. Look at the chaos I'm bringing in here. Oh man, we need a little. Sometimes we want a little bit of grime around us. So, what do you value most? So, for Tim, it is simply love. The conversation is still going on about clean environments. I think one thing about a sanitized environment, it makes you feel like you can't be comfortable, like you can't relax. that's probably that's probably part of it, right? You feel like you can't relax. So, what do you value most right now? Noble Ancient says, I value the love of Alexis, my friendships on Spoon, including G, Harley, and Armistice Games most right now. each have their reasons for being listed. Miss says, I value most preparing for the future and the love and connection, things that I value. Someone anonymously shares that I value friendships, just not the end part. What else can we call it? Endships? I value friendships, just not the end part. I think I've So Alexa, value my relationships most. G, my fam on Spoon, my pen pals. Not having many outside connections, you learn to really appreciate the ones you can and do make. You appreciate the ones that you can make. If you don't have a lot of them outside the ones that you make, you value them even more. I can appreciate that. Someone anonymously shares that I value kindness and feeling like I'm not a burden, or respect or honesty or attention from someone who's very important. Those are things I value. I value kindness, respect, honesty, and attention. And you value not feeling like you a burden. So Reese says, I value hardcore, brutal honesty. I'd rather you cut me with the truth than spare me with the lie. The cut will be tended and ended with the proper care for the betterment of my. So Reese says, keep it a whole buck with me. I can take it. Read the room, Hocus Pocus. All right. Someone anonymously shares, I don't know. To be honest, I value anything that values me. I value anything that values me. Yes, accurate. So you about that reciprocity. So someone says that they value B Ubies more than anything. I value B Ubies. Ain't nothing wrong with B Ubies being a core and important part of your life. So sometimes it's worthwhile to check in and see how these answers very valuable assets. Marie says, I agree with Anonymous. So, okay. So value most right now. It's important to check in and see where you stand on that and allow your clarity around what's important to you and what you value. Allow that to be your sort of guiding light, your North Star. Not necessarily how you happen to be feeling at the moment. So I don't know how that plays out for B Ubies. I don't know how you express that value in a way that is safe, consensual. Um, but that is what it is. All right, keep them safe. All right, getting ready to this next response here. No, we're not. So, no, we're not. Um, if you're going to be anonymous and put an off-topic, if you're going to be anonymous and put an off-topic question in the request box, the odds of me reading it and bringing it to the table are almost zero. If you say it out loud with your chest and bring it to the table, then the chances, and if it's off topic, the chances of me like bringing it to the table are maybe 3%. So, I mean, that's just not how we do it here. We got another prompt coming up right after this one. So, if we're ready for it, let's go ahead and let's get into the next. Mez says it's a topic. I'm sure. Mez, did you put it in there? You should have said so. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So here we go. Blank is unbearable. Yeah, it wasn't a malicious question. It was just, yeah, just off topic and overly intellectual for, 7:30 in the morning. All right, unbearable. Mando is here. Well, Mando, thank you for being here. So let us go. Blank is becoming unbearable. Man says my birthday feels unbearable. So Tim says lying. Lying is becoming unbearable. That's kind of what they do when they stack up, right? The weight of the weight of those lies start to bear down on you. Mez says, I lied to protect and find I hurt twice as much. I lied to protect and then to find out that I hurt twice as much. Honesty. Miss says, a monogamous partnership is becoming unbearable. Being in a monogamous partnership is becoming unbearable. Got to get out there. Got to get a little variety in your situation. Maybe there's some gaps, some unmet needs. Mrs. like, no, I read that wrong. Oh man. Encountering Noble says, encountering stupids daily in my day's adventure is becoming unbearable. I've learned to ignore them, not but not all of them go away. Stupids, huh? It's the stupids. I can't stand all these stupid people I run into every day, huh, Noble? Okay. Dr. Ice. Dr. Ice said, yo, it was me that wrote Be Oobies, and the guilt was unbearable. He's like, I gotta fess up. I gotta fess up. It was I. It was I. It's all good. Um, yeah, Noble is, you know, and pretty ingracious to the people who random people he encounters. Um, I guess if they're acting in a way that is not aligned with what you would prefer, um, you know, I guess you could read it as stupid. I'm not sure, but maybe there's another way to look. Well, I'm wondering what ways they impede. Miss put a check mark in the chat. Says, mine not being able to make a schedule every day consistently is unbearable. You say the 3% gang. Not keeping that schedule. So someone anonymously shares, humaning the relationships, the goals, the trials and tribulations, the birthdays, the graduations, the career paths, the diets, the surprises, the confusion, the pain. It's unbearable. That's a lot, huh? In other words, life is unbearable. So for Alexis, what unbearable is the growing emotional dissonance I am feeling as I try to tactfully decline a position I had accepted. But since SeaWorld finally worked out, I can no longer justify 2 jobs and a career. So it's like, ugh, I gotta let these folks know thanks, but no thanks. Forgotten. This work. Work is becoming unbearable. Work is becoming unbearable. So what is it? What is it that makes a thing finally become unbearable? Sometimes we find things, I don't know, like a principle. It's almost like a thing in physics, right? When your posture is correct and when your form and technique is correct, when the structure is in play, can bear more weight, right? So if you have a beam that's standing in the middle of a in a wall, that's designed to hold weight. If it's perpendicular, you know, it's going to be able to bear more weight. If it's out of alignment, it's not able to bear as much. So sometimes we mistake our capacity, a lessened sense of ability and capacity. We think that we can't carry a certain load, when the problem is we haven't loaded it up right. We haven't balanced things properly in their place. If we put everything in alignment, we would find the load would be much easier to bear. So sometimes it's not even that it's too much. It's just that we're wearing it wrong. We're carrying it wrong. So that might be the problem. It might be that it's too much, true, but it could be that you just don't have it loaded properly. So if something is becoming unbearable, you can go back to, okay, thing valuable enough for me even to carry, one. And if I decide that it's valuable and important, how can I sit it properly? How can I sit it properly so that we could carry it? Unbearable. See, Mez says, self-inflicted pains that hurt everyone else are unbearable. Hurting myself in ways that hurt others is becoming unbearable. So yes, we are not limited. We are not like limitless in our capacity to carry things. There is a limit. There is a point where, okay, this is too much. But sometimes we kind of let things go before it gets to that point, just because of like how we are doing it. All right. So let me make sure I got everyone's responses here. So now let's get ready to go into a recap. This is your opportunity to take a little screenshot of the prompts that we went through over the course of today's session, and a request box for you to have an opportunity to drop a key takeaway. What's a key takeaway from today's session from you? You can use this opportunity to answer one of the prompts that you didn't answer, or you could just share an insight that you took from something in the chat, something in a response that someone gave, or something that I said. What's a key takeaway that you want to carry from today's session? Miz, thank you so much for the coffee and bagels. Really appreciate that. Thank you for the spoon. Love the support. Thank you. Always appreciate it. So in case you haven't done this before, you can always swipe over to the right and you can move the chat off to the side if you want to grab a screenshot real quick. So this will be the background when we finish the session. Hopefully it saves the way it should. This will be the background that you'll have so you can see all of the prompts. I also encourage you to follow me on Instagram because I put the prompts on Instagram as well. I put these little recap sheets up there so you can get, 25 prompts every week. All right. So someone anonymously says, my key takeaway is my B-oobies need freedom, so I need to get rid of the bra. Get rid of the bra. All right. So Reese says Olive Town, success promoting music here. I've been thinking about making the app, but after this live, I can see that there's still something great here. Maybe I think you had some to talk to text. I don't know what it is. Um, I don't know. Maybe you want to just go in the chat and figure out because I don't. That didn't make any sense to me. After much success on the app promoting music, I've been thinking about leaving. Okay, got it now. After much success, you've been thinking about leaving, but now maybe I'll just kind of stay around. There's some other good stuff here. Well, I'm glad. I'm glad to have you to stick around as much as you would like. Always nice to have new folks in the community. So, Noble Ancient says, one key takeaway from this unique episode, I have learned a lot more today than the last few MJs. That G is pretty cool in his own unique ways and trying to become a better ancient. That is what I'm striving for. All right, Noble. Noble was like, I learned a lot more today than the last few. The last few, like, I don't know. G was falling off for a second. I had to take a break. I learned something today. Hey, everybody puts up breaks every now and then, right? Hey, I'm good for a couple breaks a week. If I have 2 good streams where I feel good about a week, I count it a good week. Because if you come up and do it every day, everything ain't gonna be with everybody. You just got to keep shooting. So, key takeaway. Alexa says, follow your passion, never give up on your dreams, but at the same time, be flexible enough to realize when something isn't working. Reassess. Key takeaways. One anonymously says, it's another brick against the wall. Another brick. Hey, So we're talking about key takeaways. The prompts we had for those who are just kind of listening AFK, just a little reminder where we went. We started by talking about something that lived up to the hype. Sometimes when someone hypes something up to us, they're experiencing, they're really passionate about it. They want to tell you about it. Maybe it's the people who made it or who stand to gain from it, but people hype stuff up all the time. It's rare that something lives up to the hype. We started talking about the things that we were wrong about. We were sure about this thing, but not so much anymore. You couldn't have been more wrong. The things we talked about, things we're passionate about, the things that we do, even though we don't feel like it, even though we're not passionate about it. We talked about clarifying values and how we can underpin our daily actions, not with the passion that we feel in the moment, but with the thing that we value the most. Being able to make that difficult choice in the moment to do it anyway, just because we know that it matters. And finally, we talked about trying to situate the load that we're carrying. Maybe we need to let some things go. Maybe we need to pack more intelligently so that we can bear up under the pressure that we have chosen based on the goals that we are pursuing. So that's sort of the recap. We've got a couple more key takeaways. Tim says, my takeaway is be the hype. Live up to your wildest dreams, not anyone else. You're valuable. Do you, boo? All right. Reese says, I've come to realize I'm wrong about myself. I don't give myself nearly enough credit for the talents that I do have. Yeah, we sell ourselves short sometimes. It's almost cliche that you never fully appreciate what your talents, unless you're one of those folks who just think you're nice. Some people are blinded by ego and just think that they are much better than they are. Um, but a little bit of humility can go take you. A little bit of humility can keep you learning and growing, right? Um, because if you feel like if you feel like they know where to go, so it's okay to have a little bit of humility, but you don't want to freeze yourself and do less than you can because you don't think you are enough. So, all right. So, Miss, key takeaway: I can find my passion again, plus live into the consistency of the activity. I can build a house that is structurally sound with consistency. Falling in love with the process helps me build. I value my future. Mint Mocha is here. What's happening? Ichi? All right. I think Mint Mocha is going to be featured on Enough Said Radio tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Am I right, Mint Mocha? Are you doing an interview tonight? Are you one and the same? Going to be. So if anybody's ever been curious about Mint Mocha, maybe you can learn a little bit about Mint Mocha tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern Time on Enough Said Radio, exclusively here on Spoon and Clubhouse. So Forgotten says, takeaway: balance work and life is difficult but doable. It's difficult but doable. I know Tim doesn't like the word doable, but it is a word. Doable. Doable. All right. So Jessie Jess is persistent in asking me questions. So Jessie Jess says, what or who inspires you to make these lives? Who or what inspires you to make these lives? Well, the folks that you see in here, the community does. Because think about it. We here, it's 19 of us in here right now, early in the morning. We getting to know each other. We're sharing our wisdom with each other, sharing insights and making connections. And so I often feel like doing it. When I wake up, I don't feel like doing it, but I know that after I've done it, I will be glad that I did. Thank y'all so much for the spoons, Mint Mocha, Miss. Thank you so much for the spoons. I really appreciate it. So yeah, it's very much the case that the community here inspires me to do it. I know the DMs that I get from the people who say it's been helpful. It inspires me to keep going. There's people who here often don't say much. They just kind of sit and listen, but they reach out and say how helpful it's been. And I feel like, it's a great contribution to make. It's a valuable contribution to make. And then I grow in the process as well. Gee, I really don't like waking up to do morning journal, but I do it anyways. Hey, yo, Reese, thank you so much for the spoons, fam. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate the support. Right. Well, sometimes it's true. Like, honestly, I don't know how you feel about today's, if you've been here a lot, I don't know how you feel about today's session as compared to other sessions. Um, but it was really, um, yeah, it was, it takes a while to prepare. Sometimes, it comes together at the last minute. I won't say which one happened this time because I don't think it really matters so much to you. But, you know, I always come in with the intention of making it so that someone can come in here and have a better day than they would have had they not come. Um, so, yeah. So with that, I'm going to close down the stream on the video side.